Good to see you, Patriots. It's very, very good to see you. And I got to say, Donald Trump, ooh, baby, he is putting in the work. And wow, this guy is making trade deal after trade deal, putting America first. May have struck the biggest deal. He's calling it the deals of all deals with the European Union, which we'll break down. Causing the Democrat Party to completely implode. They are at their lowest on record, by the way, in terms of favorability. There is breaking news that he may have brokered a peace deal between, I believe, Cambodia and Thailand, which I was trying you saw the delay. I'm trying to count how many times this guy has brokered peace around the world in the last 6 months. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable what this guy has done in 6 months and 8 days, 7 days. It hasn't even been a full 8 days yet. Wow. Well, we're going to break everything down for you, folks. Hopefully you had a lovely weekend. A lot of things happened over the weekend. So, of course, Monday's show is always jam-packed with, great news. Going to the chat really quick. Steven, it's good to see you. John, Miss Mom, Kenneth, Danielle, Pat. Everybody's over there. It's good to see everybody over at YouTube. We got Bats, Dizzy. Good to see you. Karen, Hans, Craig, Dean Jagger, that's a crazy name. You got to work on that. D&J Jiggerson. What's going on? Michelle, good to see you. All righty. Well, let's just kind of get into a little bit of news here. Again, Democrats in Congress have now hit a low record approval rating at just 21%. This is as April 1st, folks.
Voters' views of the Democrats in Congress among all voters disapprove 68%. And look at the approved number, just 21%, even lower than the Democratic Party at large. This is the lowest on record for Democrats.
It's allegedly, I believe, now I can't pull up the video because it won't load, but you can at least see what I'm looking at here. Wall Street Journal regarding the Democrat Party's net favorable is negative 30 points, lowest on record since the Wall Street Journal has been tracking it for the Democrat Party. CNN, lowest on record, negative 26 points. Now, I can't see the plus or minus. It could be lower than that, folks. It is bad. They have no agenda. They have no front runner. They have no person heading their party. They don't know what to do, while Donald Trump is over here making America great again, baby. While Donald Trump is out here in the European Union, or Europe just in general, doing his tour, making America great. So President Donald Trump announced on Sunday the biggest of trade deals of them all with the European Union, sitting with European Commissioner President Ursula. I'm sorry. I mean, does anybody else think of the Little Mermaid when they think of her name? I do. I mean, that's not exactly a name that you want when you're known to be an evil person. And the accent doesn't help out that much either. Trump read off a piece of paper the various major takeaways from his agreement. We have that here for you right now. Let's check it out. Again, it's good to see you. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Appreciate you.
Following the European Union is going to agree to purchase from the United States $750 billion worth of energy. $750 billion worth of energy.
Damn.
They are going to agree to invest into the United States $600 billion more than they're investing already. So they're investing a large amount of money. You know what that amount of money is. It's very substantial, but they're going to invest an additional $600 billion. They're agreeing to open up their countries to trade at zero tariff. So that's a very big factor. Opening up their countries, all of the countries will be opened up to trade with the United States at zero tariff. And they're agreeing to purchase a vast amount of military equipment. We don't know what that number is, but it's the good news is we make the best military equipment in the world, so sort of you have to do that. I mean, until somebody tops us, which is not going to happen. We're way ahead of every other country in terms of the quality of the military equipment. You saw that recently in Iran, and you see that, unfortunately, you see that often for all the wrong reasons, right?
Thank you. I appreciate that. I was on mute. Thank you. So as part of the deal, per Trump's description, the EU will purchase $750 billion worth of energy from the United States, agree to invest $600 billion more with the bloc is already investing, open up its countries to the trade with America. Now, this is big because what Trump is doing here is increasing the demand for American products because now we're able to put goods and services out there in places that weren't there before. For example, like we saw what he did with the ranchers, with the meat, with the beef, going to Australia, opening up a whole new market for American beef. And the question is that why wasn't this ever done before? Why are these different countries that allegedly are allies not willing to do business with America? Is it too expensive? Is there just not a market for our beef or whatever products we're producing? Because I find that kind of hard to believe. Now, this next part is interesting because this is the part that the left are complaining about, which I'm trying to understand myself. So Trump also noted the tariffs for automobiles and other EU imports will be a straight across rate of 15%. However, he said the 50% levies on steel and aluminum for U.S. trade partners will remain into effect. Now, one thing with the imports that the left or the Democrat Party, either way you want to phrase it, they're basically the same thing now, is complaining about is, oh, well, that's just a tax on American people. Well, correct. It is a tax on American people because if they're producing a vehicle over, let's just say in Europe, for cheaper than they're producing it over here in the United States, well, when they ship it over here, and let's just say the tariff was, I think everything was like 1.5% or something like that. Let's just say it's 0% to make life easy. You produce the vehicle for $5,000 over in Europe. You come over here and sell it for $10,000 because there's no tariff on it. And for us, it costs $20,000 to produce, and we're going to sell that thing for $25,000. Well, it's a big discrepancy. Gee, I wonder whose vehicle you're going to buy. Are you going to buy a Ford or are you going to buy something from Europe? It's an obvious answer. You're going to buy something from Europe. So the way to do this is, well, we're going to tax the import of the vehicle that's coming over, which is going to jack up the price of the vehicle. Let's just be generous, by 15% here and say that all of that is going to be absorbed by the consumer. Well, now the EU's vehicles just went up 15%, which is going to allow them to be now competitive with the United States vehicles, American-made vehicles. So I don't understand what the shock is here. Now, I get the idea of oh, well, now we're going to be paying 50% more on vehicles. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. I mean, what's the trade-off here? Do you want America to compete or do you not want them to compete is the question. And I don't exactly want to rely on the European Union for much. And I'm tired of I'll be honest, I'm kind of tired of relying on everybody for everything. And my question has always been proposed, and I've shared this with you before, if we were to ever go to a world war, who is going to make all of our stuff? And I'm not talking about washer machines. I'm not talking about all this other stuff. Well, they'll make our carpets and they'll make our rugs and our clothing. I'm talking about who is going to produce all the minerals, the metals, all that stuff that we're going to need for military equipment. Mind you, a lot of our military equipment is technologically based. We were relying on Taiwan for the majority of our chips. That's a massive problem. I mean, everybody knows in business, when you put all your eggs in one basket, that's something you don't do, because when that basket crumbles, well, there goes all your eggs as well. And they don't know what to say. Oh, well, and this is the answer they give me, just to share with you. They go, well, our allies will produce them. No, they won't. You don't think they're struggling as it is already? And first of all, they weren't even able to make our PP&E for when COVID happened. And they're, we made PP&E and we had so much that we sent to the other country. Yeah, on certain items. Oh, wow. Ventilators, cool. Why couldn't we make everything else for ourselves? We made one thing. Crazy. Well, she said we have a trade deal between the two largest economies in the world.
We have a deal. We have a trade deal between the two largest economies in the world. And it's a big deal. It's a huge deal. It will bring stability. It will bring predictability. That's very important for our businesses on both sides of the Atlantic.
It's true.
It's 15% tariffs across the board, all inclusive. The investments Mr. President just described that going to go to the United States and the purchases over there. Indeed, basically the European market is open. It's 450 million people. So it's a good deal. It's a huge deal. Yeah. It was tough negotiations. I knew it at the beginning, and it was indeed very tough, but we came to good conclusions for both sides. So again, congratulations and many thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's a good meeting, very professional. I liked how it was handled. Now, the one thing I could say is it's not a done deal, right? There's going to be things that are going to change in this. Hopefully nothing that's going to end up, kind of, and I don't think this will happen because I don't think Trump will allow it. Trump will just pull out. But hopefully there's nothing thrown in there the last minute. If anything, Trump's the one that's going to throw in there something last minute that's going to make this a good deal. But this was kind of pushed through because remember, Trump set that August 1st deadline where you're going to hit with 30% on imports, which they don't want, because then again, it's going to make American products a little bit more desirable than the EU products. Furthermore, I like the point that she made there, and she did. This right here, she says, it will bring stability. Now, this can mean a range of things, but how I read into this is it's going to bring stability to the markets. Right now, things are very volatile because we don't know what's going to happen. And to be fair, I've hounded Trump on that. If you're a business owner and Trump one day saying, oh, well, you're going to be paying 50% tariffs on this product. Well, now you're scrambling to figure out how you're going to work with the companies across seas to see, okay, well, what portion of this 50% can you absorb? What portion of this percent over here can I absorb? So we're not passing that entire 50% on to the consumer. So now you're scrambling, trying to figure that out. Well, then he goes the following week after you just made all these deals, right? Trying to figure out everything with your suppliers and all this other stuff to bring in the imports. And then he goes, well, I'm changing it to 10%. Yada. So now you're on the phone back again. It's really bad for business, you guys. And it's not fair to the business owners, and it's not fair to the suppliers across seas. It really isn't. So again, he struck framework agreements with countries like China, United Kingdom, Indonesia. I believe Vietnam was in the mix. Japan, he just made a deal with as well. I'll be fair, you guys, the Japan one isn't that great for us. Just a heads up. People will try to weasel their way in that it's good for America. Maybe it's good for America in the long term. It's not that great for Americans in the short term. Just a heads up. Just want to throw that out there. The Japan deal's not that great of a deal. So moving on here. Well, Trump trashes windmills. It was such a good meeting too. And you know how Trump is. Trump starts opening his mouth and it's like, look, he's not wrong, but it's also like, I don't know if it needed to be said. So here he is talking about windmills.
And the other thing I say to Europe, we will not allow a windmill to be built in the United States. They're killing us. They're killing the beauty of our scenery, our valleys, our beautiful plains. And I'm not talking about airplanes. I'm talking about beautiful plains, beautiful areas in the United States and you look up and you see windmills all over the place. It's a horrible thing. It's the most expensive form of energy. It's no good. They're made in China, almost all of them. When they start to rust and rot in 8 years, you can't really turn them off. You can't bury them. They won't let you bury the propellers, the props, because they're a certain type of fiber that doesn't go well with the land. That's what they say. The environmentalists say you can't bury them because the fiber doesn't go well with the land. In other words, if you bury it, it will harm our soil. The whole thing is a con job. It's very expensive. And in all fairness, Germany tried it, and wind doesn't work. You need subsidy for wind, and energy should not need subsidy. With energy, you make money. You don't lose money. But more important than that is it ruins the landscape. It kills the birds. They're noisy.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. That's what this reminds me of, kind of.
You have a certain place in the Massachusetts area that over the last 20 years had 1 or 2 whales wash ashore. And over the last short period of time, they had 18. Okay? Because it's driving them loco. It's driving them crazy. Now, windmills will not come. It's not going to happen in the United States. And it's very expensive. And I would love to see. Today I'm playing the best course, I think, in the world, Turnberry. Even though I own it, it's probably the best course in the world, right? And I look over the horizon and I see 9 windmills. It's like great. At the end of the 18th, I said, isn't that a shame? What a shame. You have the same thing all over.
Isn't that exactly what I said? What a shame. What a shame when he pulled out that slip during Dark MAGA podcast with Jerome Powell. Remember how I did that exact quote. What a shame. What a shame. Y'all remember that? We're laughing. Hold on a second here.
I said, isn't that a shame? What a shame. You have the same thing all over Europe in particular. You have windmills all over the place. Some of the countries prohibit it, but people ought to know that these windmills are very destructive.
Anyways, that's pretty much the end of the clip right there for all of you, but I love it. And look, I'm not saying he's wrong. Please understand that. I'm not saying he's wrong. It's just funny because, it ruins the scenery. It's the planes, not literally planes. He has to emphasize that because these idiots can't read between the lines. And I'm not exaggerating that. They really are idiotic. If Trump had never corrected himself, and for air quotes, he wasn't correcting himself. He was explaining himself. If he had not done that, well, then there's the headline. The headline is Trump says that planes are crashing in the windmills. That's not happening. And he's like, I meant planes, like the plains. You know what I mean? Like the prairies, you idiots. But they are dumb. They really are. Now, this is breaking. So I'm trying to see if this is going to be legit or not. If it is, I really don't understand how this guy doesn't get the Nobel Peace Prize. I really don't. This is final. Thailand, Cambodia reached ceasefire agreement after call from Donald Trump. I mean, dude, how many ceasefires and peace deals is this guy going to make? Like I said, if he can get the Israel-Gaza thing figured out, as well as Ukraine and Russia, and get a deal from that, he would go down in history. And I would say, if this continues, let's just say this track record continues with what he's doing. Folks, it's been 6 months. And look what this guy, I got goosebumps. I'm not even, my whole body has goosebumps right now. If he continues this for the next 3.5 years, and let's say he does achieve peace and peace stays, I would love for peace by the end of the year. And we get 3 years of nothing but peace from the entire world. Everybody's kind of getting along for, we use that term loosely, but you know what I mean. I would say he's probably, he should be on Mount Rushmore. I would say that. If everything continues to go as planned, he's making the streets safer. He's making America strong again. He's bringing back the energy. We're drill baby drilling. We got the border secure. I mean, he just, I don't know how you cannot put him up there, especially give the guy the Nobel Peace Prize. I mean, he would go down. I mean, that would be, they call him a deal maker in chief. I mean, you can only have so many nicknames for somebody, but I would say he's the peacemaker. The peacemaker president. The leaders of Thailand and Cambodia agreed to a ceasefire effective at midnight on Monday after President Donald Trump threatened not to enter into a trade deal with either country until the fighting ended. Dozens of people were killed and hundreds of thousands of civilians were forced to flee when fighting erupted last week near the border. I mean, a phone call, guys. This guy's brokering peace deals with a phone call. It's unbelievable, man. It really is. I doubt that was like the end of it too. You know, I mean, I'm sure part of it was the emotional aspect, because Trump talks a lot about just young men passing away. That's not something you want. Why should young men have to go fight these wars all the time? Man, Thailand's acting prime minister. I'm not even gonna bother. Holy look. Anybody want to give that one a try? Here we go. You guys love this little. It's like almost like Scrabble. Full thumb. Wecha yacha hai. Jesus. Look, okay, hey, first of all, my reading's not that great as it is. We already know that. And it's 6:23 in the morning for me, all right? All right, enough of judgment. You want to give it a try? I'll pull one of you up. You give it a try. Look at that word. Everybody's like scrambling to their phones and their TVs right now. What the hell does that say? I want to see if I can do it. And Cambodia's prime minister, Hun Manet, there, that's a little bit easier, okay? Thank God Cambodia has their head on straight. Shook hands just after President Donald Trump spoke to both leaders on Saturday and pushed them to stop the fighting. The peace talks between the two countries took place in Malaysia and were organized by Malaysian and American officials. I mean, Trump saving lives, man. I think that's the part that a lot of people aren't including in there, the fact of how many lives this guy has saved by doing these peace deals. I mean, you're talking thousands of young men are able to go home and still see their wives and kids because of this guy. Nobody ever puts it in that perspective. Oh, he's so bad. Look at this racist. Look at this bigot. The guy's so evil. He's terrible. Legitimately has saved thousands of lives by brokering peace deals with India, Pakistan, Cambodia, Thailand. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. It's unbelievable.
As you know, with Cambodia, we just did
You got to be kidding me with the bagpipes, right? You got to be kidding me with the bagpipes. Okay, I'm sorry. I love how we just get powerful jet engines in the background on the White House lawn. You know, when he's doing those little questions with the press right there, waiting to get on Marine One. You just hear the jet engine blasting with American muscle, and then you get this.
Just announced a very big, beyond peace.
Can you tell that guy? Hey, can you tell the guy to shut the fuck up? I'm talking here. Like, really? Do we need the bagpipes? Honestly, do we need them?
It was going to be a very bad war, and so we're honored we got involved, and it's essentially settled. I think they're going to be settling it today, so it went for a few days. That was going to go on for years. That could have gone on for years. Millions of people could have been killed. We ended the war, and we're very happy about
it. Why? Trump, no, okay, I don't think Trump likes the bagpipes, to be honest. Or it was a huge miss, but I don't think that's him, man. The guy knows TV. The guy knows TV and how to make things look good. There's actually a famous clip of him just moving a glass of water in and out of the frame and a table to see if it looked good. The guy knows how to make things look good. I mean, the bagpipes is crazy. So the fighting erupted last Thursday near a temple that both Thailand and Cambodia claim. The two Southeast Asian countries traded attacks, including airstrikes and rocket fire. The recent attack marks the deadliest conflict between the two between Thailand and Cambodia in nearly 15 years. So 36 people have lost their lives, unfortunately, to this. But thank God you have Donald Trump in office, because Joe Biden would have not even made a phone call, right? Or he would say, hey, we'll give you guys $100 billion if you stop fighting. So yeah, just throwing money out the window. Look at that. Trump did it with a phone call. Joey could never do this. Joey never did it. Now, speaking of the Democrats and Joe Biden and I guess Barack Obama and it all, we have more information here regarding Russiagate. Obamagate is what I like to call it. Let's call it what it is, Obamagate. 30-point buck out in the open, Jonathan Turley reveals who's vulnerable to Russiagate prosecution here.
And it does appear that a couple of these figures may have committed perjury. I think the most vulnerable may be Brennan, who's like a 30-point buck now out in the open. I mean, this stuff goes directly to information that he gave to Congress. It seems to be in contradiction. And so there are real questions here. I mean, people talk about, well, you can't charge Obama. That's very likely the case.
Listen, I'm going to go back again. So what I've been doing is I've been trying to go to different podcasts and shows to try to figure out, like, what in terms of the law can all these people be held accountable for Obamagate, also known as Russiagate. You guys need to listen carefully on this, because you're not going to be happy. And I wish I had the kind of the full clip from, I think the person that had it best was actually Sean Hannity, believe it or not. Glenn Beck's talked about it. Ben Shapiro's talked about it. Obviously, you have Jonathan Turley here. You guys, a lot of these people might not go down. So you need, I don't want, what's the phrase I'm looking for? I don't want you to look at this as kind of like the Epstein files, where they overpromise and underdeliver. And I think Fox News is doing a really good job by having Jonathan Turley out, these other professors around the country coming out and saying, look, it probably is not going to happen. Trey Gowdy, who I love. You guys know I'm a big Trey Gowdy fan. Used to be the congressman over there in either North or South Carolina. I can't remember. He's on Fox News a lot, was talking about it. I don't think the guy, by the way, I don't think Trey Gowdy has lost a prosecution case in his career. And he was telling the viewers, you guys, hey, like, don't expect really anything much to happen here in terms of prosecutions. I'm sure there will be some people, but nothing's going to happen. You're not going to see Barack Obama locked up in handcuffs. You're not going to see him go to jail, most likely. Sounds like he has immunity. Also, you have a statute of limitations problem for other people as well. So just be prepared to not see much happen here. Just a heads up.
Protected. But these individuals, whether it's Comey or Brennan, are not protected from perjury charges if the statute of limitations has not run. They are more likely to be called again to repeat prior testimony.
So we have that for you. Here's actually the is this the Trey Gowdy clip? No, it's not. So I was trying to see if I could find the Trey Gowdy on Fox News, but I wasn't able to. But that part I want to at least throw in there for you guys, that just, I guess, keep your, don't hold your breath with it, is what I'm saying. Don't hold your breath with it. You kind of wish, but that is here nor there. Here's Byron Donalds kind of talking about, all these ideas that the Democrat Party, the ones that are creating all this fake stuff. It's funny because they say we come out with cheap fakes, deep fakes, but here they are with the Steele dossier fake. The intel officials knew it was fake. Everybody knew it was fake, but still did it. So here he is.
Congressman Crow saying that, everybody knew everything they needed to know. This isn't new. Your reaction?
My reaction is, first, to Mr. Crow. This information might have been there, but are we going to assume that the Biden administration was going to bring the necessary investigations? Understand, Joe Biden was vice president under Barack Obama. We know the history. And if it is Barack Obama's administration that ordered a new intelligence briefing, not based on any facts or any merits, but based upon the Steele dossier, that demonstrates why the former presidential administration under Joe Biden did not look into any of this, because they were covering up for the previous Democrat administration. That's number one. Number two, we all know that the Steele dossier was fake. And then when they ordered a new intelligence briefing, it was then Mr. Brennan who was overriding senior intelligence officials in the intelligence community who did not want to even go down the road of substantiating claims that the Russians were putting up Donald Trump as a stalking horse. That is the facts. Those are the histories. The reason why it hasn't been investigated is because Trump's first administration was frankly under a firestorm for 4 years dealing with the false intelligence from the Obama administration about Russia, We know the Biden administration wasn't going to investigate that. I mean, for crying out loud, they did everything wrong. So now it's left to DNI Gabbard to release the documentations and then also provide the referrals to the Department of Justice so we can finally get a true accounting, a true investigation. And then if there were criminal activities, people need to be prosecuted for that as well.
Congressman.
A good account to follow here, if you want to get more information kind of on Russiagate, is Paul Sperry. This guy has been following this for quite some time. He does real investigations. But breaking on December 20th, 2016, career CIA officers told Brennan, who was the CIA director, "We don't have direct information Putin wanted to get Trump elected," and removed the conclusion from the first draft of the CIA, only to have Brennan reinsert it in the final draft of the report. So if you want to get all his information here, he kind of keeps posting throughout the day, and he has some information that you're not necessarily always going to find inside some news article. So good on him for following this up. Again, that is Paul Sperry over at X. So I'd make sure that you follow him. Furthermore, you got some James O'Keefe coming out. And let me see how long this clip is. Okay, it's a minute 30. All right, we're good. He said, treason in black and white, investigative journalist Paul Sperry confirms, which we just highlighted. Trump National Security Advisor John Bolton received a classified memo summarizing the explosive report exposing how John Brennan fabricated, meaning made up, the Trump-Russia intelligence. But instead of briefing the sitting president of the United States, Bolton locked it in the NSC safe. And as a loyal and obedient traitor, believed the fabricated garbage. Wow.
You've been working at the CIA?
Since 2008.
Okay.
I also worked at NSA though. And then I had a TSSCI with a full-scope polygraph. That means that I'm fully vetted.
Amjad Fasisi shows her his CIA identification badge.
No, where does it say?
It doesn't.
Hey, that's the point.
That's the point.
What's CMC?
China Mission Center, darling. That's my mission center.
Gotcha.
Amjad talks about how the CIA kept information from Trump.
Like working?
We kept information from him.
Say one more time.
We kept information from him.
From Trump?
Yes. He's an idiot. And there are certain people that would give him a high-level overview but never give it to any details. Do you know why? Because he'll leak those details.
Amjad Fasisi states higher-ups within the intel community, including CIA directors Mike Pompeo and Gina Haspel, and the upper levels of their staffs colluded to withhold information from sitting President Trump.
So the agencies kind of like all got together and said, we're not going to tell Trump.
The higher-ups.
The higher-ups.
We put it this way, the executive staff. We're talking about the director and his subordinates.
Like what titles are they?
Wow.
Director of the CIA.
Director of the CIA would keep.
Yes.
Are you guys still watching him?
I would say yes.
It sounds like you guys are still watching him and his team.
Of course we are. Nothing goes by without.
Wow. Now, remember, you're also getting somebody's ego in there as well. I'm not saying he's lying, but when I see somebody hesitate, are we watching Trump? You know, he doesn't know. Mind you, he's probably trying to make himself look good in front of the hot babe that's right in front of him or whatever. So this kind of goes in, though, when you have the highest levels of our intelligence apparatus fabricating material, it makes you wonder what other nefarious stuff is going on behind the scenes. Like what is in there in terms of our intelligence agencies that has not come out yet. You know, we don't know anything about the assassination attempts on Donald Trump's life. We don't know much about the Epstein files, if that was actually true or if that was fabricated as a mass psyop. We don't really know what's going on here behind the scenes and how bad it is. And that brings me to this here where Dan Bongino came out, I think it was yesterday or the day before, with a cryptic message and said that it shocked him to his core. Now, this is not the only time he's kind of elaborated on this. This went viral, by the way. I think I did a video on TikTok to hit over like 130,000 views or something like that yesterday. I think it was at, I don't know what it's at now. It's blowing up, but that's here nor there. The point I'm trying to make is this is going viral. But what's interesting is everyone's like, whoa, there's a cryptic message on social media with Dan Bongino saying that he shook to his core. Yeah, but he's also mentioned that he can't sleep at night on a Fox News interview. based on what he's seen. So it's not the only time he said something like this before. Now, he said this on X. He said, during my tenure here as the deputy director of the FBI, I have repeatedly relayed to you that things are happening that might not be immediately visible, but they are happening, which is true. He has done that, saying, hey, look, guys, we're working behind the scenes. This stuff takes time. Kash Patel got in at the end of February. I think Dan Bongino came in shortly after, either the very tail end of February, early March, which means you're talking 4 or 5 months they've been in here. So they haven't had a lot of time and they're getting stuff done. You just got to give them time. They're cooking. The director and I are committed to stamping out public corruption and the political weaponization of both law enforcement and intelligence operations, which is crazy because that tells me that law enforcement and intelligence agencies have been utilized to do something nefarious behind the scenes. So he's giving you a little bit of a sneak peek of what's going on here. And I'd be curious if this is talking about just, are we talking about, I think all 3-letter agencies, to be honest. I think there's people behind the scenes, and I don't think this is a far-fetched thing to say, that there's people behind the scenes that have weaponized and went after certain people like Donald Trump and others to do some nefarious things. It is a priority for us, but what I've learned in the course of our properly predicated and necessary investigations into these aforementioned matters have shocked me down to my core. We cannot run a republic like this. I'll never be the same after learning what I've learned. Now, how big of a deal is this? I am not sure. Like, for example, he might have learned something and based on his raw emotion, kind of exaggerated this X post. You know, we've all been there before when we see something like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. We're going out, we're getting these guys. This is nuts. But then you kind of think about it, right? You come back 24 hours later, be like, all right, you know, I might have kind of, you know, made it a little bigger than what it's supposed to be. We'll see. We're going to conduct these righteous and proper investigations by the book and in accordance with the law. We're going to get the answers we all deserve. As with any investigation, I cannot predict where it will land, but I can promise you an honest and dignified effort of truth. Not my truth or your truth, but the truth. So we'll see what he comes out with. We'll see what he's cooking up there. In Dan we trust, as I always say, and we'll kind of see what the man is cooking up there. But it's definitely something that is going to be interesting nonetheless. I think it would be nice to know, okay, of course, what's going on with the Epstein files, but you know, what's going on with the pipe bombs of January 6th. Kash Patel and Dan Bongino were asked if there were FBI informants or FBI personnel on the ground for J6. Now, I remember getting reports way back when that there was roughly 200 FBI agents on the ground, egging people on and kind of building up the atmosphere to go and go inside the Capitol. I want to know what's going on with that. I still would like to know how is it that we don't have any information on the assassination attempts on Donald Trump's life? Does that not blow anybody's mind? I do this for a hobby, and I'm looking around going, I don't even have any information on this. I've heard rumors. I'm not going to report on just rumors all the time. Oh, well, what are the rumors? Sure, the guy had a van. He had explosives in his vans that never went off. He had blasting caps that either you could purchase online or make yourself. But if you make it yourself, he's not capable of doing that, according to explosive experts that have come out and talked about it, meaning most likely he bought those caps online. But if you buy those caps online, they're highly regulated and tracked. So the capabilities of him building these explosives was basically almost zero, meaning who built the explosives for him. His cell phone was allegedly being pinged by all these FBI buildings. Well, that's a little odd. Isn't that kind of what Dan Bongino is talking about here? Is shook to his core. So all these things, had a firearm, didn't know how to use the firearm, but was able to get the firearm. He was walking around the event the entire time. His house was allegedly cleaned as if it was like an emergency operating room. Just swabbed clean. Like the spoons were clean with like alcohol. I mean, I added that part in there, but to give you the idea. It's just, you don't know anything. We don't know anything. Would love to find something out here, Dan. Big time. Big time. All right, getting into some other random news here. RFK targets ultra-processed foods in latest move to make America healthy again. I'm not totally against this. As a matter of fact, it's funny that this article got brought up this morning because I went and got In-N-Out on Saturday. I know you're like, Brad, you went out and got something other than turkey and rice? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I got In-N-Out. for a couple reasons. One, it's easy, it's good, and also because people are boycotting In-N-Out because the owner is moving and get the hell out of California because California sucks. Can't blame her. She's going to Tennessee. So you guys might be getting some In-N-Out over there on the East Coast very soon because they're going to start building it up over there. Well, people are backlashing. And so I didn't want to wait in a long line, so I went to In-N-Out. And it was good. Got my double grilled onions, fry, and a root beer. It's what I always get. Well, I was making the comment to my wife of saying, it's just nice eating because none of it's processed. I mean, everything In-N-Out does is made to order, and it's fresh. It really is. It's not frozen. It's fresh. And so you don't get that heavy feeling in your gut when you eat like McDonald's, for example. You know what I'm talking about? It's kind of hard to explain, but you know when you get McDonald's, you can just tell that it's processed, man. It's heavy. You don't really feel that great after. You don't get any of that with In-N-Out. In-N-Out, it's just good. You almost feel like you ate a healthy meal, to be honest. So I like this idea of getting rid of the ultra processed foods. Look, it's not good for you. It's going to make you healthier, which is what this is all about. I like this idea. So Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the secretary, has teamed up with the Department of Agriculture to formally define ultra processed foods, a step toward empowering consumers and addressing America's chronic disease epidemic. Kennedy announced this past week that HHS and the USDA, which is led by Secretary Brooke Rollins, will implement a request for information to gather information and data to help establish a federally recognized uniform definition for ultra processed foods. Currently, no such authoritative definition exists. Ultra-processed foods are driving our chronic disease epidemic. We must act boldly to eliminate the root causes of chronic illness and improve the health of our food supply. Defining ultra-processed foods with a clear, uniform standard will empower us even more to make America healthy again. Now, there's a conversation that people would have like, well, you're a conservative. Like, isn't the idea that conservatism is to have limited government? And when you have limited government, wouldn't you want the government to be kind of out of your lives? Yeah, you're kind of seeping more into like a libertarian, kind of a social libertarian on that side of that viewpoint. But the idea here is for conservatives and social liberals like myself is, well, you wouldn't want America, or I should say the government, to be involved in all these kind of free market policies or establishing these free market policies. Whereas if the food's super processed, ultra processed, then you have the decision as the consumer to buy the product or not, meaning you're letting the market decide. So if you want to go out and get a healthy meal, well, that's your choosing. If you want to go out and get an ultra processed meal, that's also your choosing. And you let the market decide what people want to do or not without having the government interject. And I think there's a good argument to be had there. I really do. The other side of it is, well, if people aren't capable of making that decision for themselves, and I don't agree with this, by the way, then we need to have the government to step in and make the decision for them. Now, sadly, that's where things are going and have been going for quite a long time. Now, the conversation would be said of having, the government stepping in, if we can make Americans more healthy again, well, that's going to stop Americans from, impacting our healthcare system, which should hopefully lower the premiums because there's not going to be so much of a demand. There's not going to be so much of these insurance claims going through. And so you can hopefully get your insurance costs down or whatever. I'm, kind of spitballing here, but you get what I'm saying. Even if I didn't elaborate it that well, you know what I'm kind of picking up on. Rollins said a unified, widely understood definition of ultra-processed food is long overdue. She also promised that the great men and women of the agriculture value chain will be part of the conversation. A press release from HHS said approximately 70% of packaged products in U.S. foods often considered ultra-processed. Additionally, children on average get over 60% of their calories from ultra-processed foods. It's just not healthy, man. I mean, it's something that I used to talk with my wife about a lot is that you're walking around Disneyland, just walk around anywhere, man. People are fat as, you know what, man? People are fat. And there's probably people in the chat that are fat too. Look, I'm overweight actually for myself. I think I weigh about 210 right now. That is extremely overweight. I'm about 5'10". So I should really be weighing about 180. So I'm about 30 pounds overweight myself. And I don't eat ultra processed foods all the time. Like I said, I pretty much eat turkey, rice. I'll throw some veggies in there. I'll do like a mixed veggie tray over there in the oven. So I'm not really one to talk. Technically, I'm in the category of obese, believe it or not, for my weight. I'm technically obese. So if you're like, oh, Brad, you're talking shit on fat people, I guess I'd be considered fat too. I just don't look super overweight, to be honest. But this includes cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, cancer, obesity, all this other stuff. So good on him for trying to make America healthy again. I like it. Now, is the government intervention good? I definitely grapple with that internally. That's for sure. All right. Trump jabs at Newsom after $100 million in fire aid concert funds don't go directly to victims. I heard Newsom's going to look into this, right? He's going to do a private audit is what I'm told. Yeah. Oh, God. Yep. Didn't see anything here. So President Donald Trump jabbed at Governor Gavin Newsom after $100 million in donated funds raised through a concert named Fire Aid did not go directly to victims of the recent California wildfires. Gee, it sounds a lot like what Gavin Newsom has been doing. I think Gavin Newsom is corrupt, man. I think we need to do a Newsom gate because this guy has put billions of dollars towards homelessness, but the problem's only gotten worse. Didn't go directly to homeless. I mean, some of it did, but a lot of it went to his buddies' pockets, and everybody just looks a blind eye. It's amazing how you got to please understand the suburban women in California salivate over this guy. You patriots. I don't want to say salivates over this guy, you guys. I was trying to fix the language a little bit, but they love this guy. California loves Newsom, folks. It's wild. Fire Aid was billed as one-night concert event featuring artists like Katy Perry, Olivia Rodrigo, Lady Gaga, blah, blah, which was sponsored to raise a bunch of money for residents who lost their homes, but none of it actually went to them. Actors Miles Teller from Top Gun told everyone that Fire Aid would go directly to victims, saying all the money raised will go directly to people who need it now, and long-term efforts to build it back, they're still looking for the money. And we covered this last week. Sue Pasco, editor-in-chief of Circling News, who lost her home to the Palisades fire, discovered the money did not go directly to individuals. They went to all these other people. Gotta love it. Just have to love it. Some nonprofits, according to Fox News Digital, include one that works to promote self-determination in the Latino community. This is where the money went. Self-determination in the Latino community. Isn't that just fun? And promised to use the funding to build not just houses, but a more humane and democratic society by responding to the needs and problems of the disenfranchised people. Another organization promised to use the money to cultivate egalitarian relationships based on trust and respect. This is a fun way of saying we basically embezzled your money. Yeah, we stole it. That's all it's saying. You don't need to read it. You don't need to read into it. Like, oh, well, what are they doing with the Latino community and the Chicano studies and all this? You don't need to. You're thinking way too far past this. Keep it simple. They stole the money is what they did. That's basically what happened. They allegedly stole the money. Now, speaking of other people that I'm trying to make a segue transition. I don't really have one, so why don't you just hit that like button for me? Just smash the like button. How many likes do we have here? Let me refresh. We got like a ton of. How do we only have 23 likes on YouTube? We've had consistently like 50 people watching. What's going on here? Help me out. Jesus, people. Let's see if Rumble, we have more people watching, and Rumble's even worse. Rumble's 17 likes. Well, that sucks. Think you guys had my back. Jesus, I'm over here struggling. What? That's not, guys. Anyways, appreciate you watching. Listen. Okay, so where with Colbert rally draws tens of people, even cops go home. So they try to do this whole rally thing for Colbert. It's funny how it's kind of like this. You know how all the feminists are complaining about the WNBA? Oh, you got to pay them more money. Oh, come on, give them what they deserve. It's like, you've never even been to a WNBA game. At least us men, we go support football, hockey, right? We go support our guys, right? We support the boys. I don't see women going out there selling out at the WNBA games. Most recently, they have because of Caitlin Collins. That's pretty much it. I couldn't even tell you, and I'm being so sincere, I couldn't even name, well, maybe I can. I think the Sparks are one WNBA team. Other than that, I could legitimately not name anybody outside Caitlin Collins, and I could not name another team for you. That's it. So, feminists, why are you not buying season tickets and going out to all these games and rooting on the women? In the same way here, Democrats and these progressives are complaining that Stephen Colbert's show is getting shut down because he's losing $40 million a year, allegedly, and they don't go watch the show. They're not going buying his tickets. They're not lining up outside around the block to go see this guy because he sucks. He's not funny anymore. He used to be funny, like when he was on the Daily Show. That was how long ago? Like 20 years ago. According to a report published by the New York Post, just about 20 people showed up to voice their support for the soon-to-be ousted host. Well, that sounds like his viewership. And even though those who did show up didn't stay long, New York City cops who were on the scene just in case the protest got out of hand took off as well when it became apparent that nothing was happening. Sounds about right. The event organizer told the New York Post that his name was Matt and his nickname was Slim, but he would not give the outlet any other identification. Of course not. He's probably wearing a mask too. He explained that he attempted to bring a group together outside the CBS Broadcast Center on the west side of Manhattan to say, we're with Colbert. Well, you're not with Colbert. The viewership hasn't been with Colbert. That's why he's losing $40 million a year, is because you nut jobs aren't out there actually watching the guy that you allegedly support. Our country's not perfect. Never has been, he said. But we've always had the First Amendment, and now Mango Mussolini is trying to take that from us. Isn't it amazing, you guys, that they just blame Trump for everything? It's a disorder that I find really astonishing. And I also connect this to our culture that we've sadly created for ourselves. It's mostly people's parents, that they've inculcated these values into their kids, that, oh, it's okay, blame your teacher. Blame somebody else for your problems. Blame the president. Blame your boss. Blame this person. It's never blame yourself and fix yourself. It's always blame everybody else out there. And we've talked about that for the last 4 years. And I hope you guys now see what I've been talking about this entire time. That this is crazy. So it's Donald Trump's fault because Colbert's not doing great. Another protester who refused to give her name, of course, told the outlet, this is a First Amendment attack. We can't stand for it. Gotcha. But when I get deplatformed, right, when I get censored off of TikTok for 2 weeks at a time, or we get a video taken down off YouTube, or YouTube suppresses our viewership with 100,000 subscribers, well, we can't get anywhere over 300 views a video. Somehow there's no conversation of them backing us on this, right? Where are them lining up in the street saying, oh, well, free speech, First Amendment on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter? Remember, where were all these people when everybody's being deplatformed for talking about COVID? Where was the First Amendment attacks then? Where was the First Amendment attacks when Joe Biden and the Democrat Party utilized big tech to censor conservative Republicans when they said that a man was a man and a woman was a woman? Remember when Jordan B. Peterson got removed off big tech when he was banned? Remember when Dan Bongino was banned off YouTube for talking about COVID? Remember when Charlie Kirk was removed off X as well for saying that a man was a man, a woman was a woman? Remember when the editor of the Federalist Papers was removed as well for saying the exact same thing? Do you see a common theme here? But yeah, no, they're all about the First Amendment. The same people that will go attack you, they'll actually go find your employer and try to get you fired for saying whatever your piece is on social media, which is your First Amendment right to do. Yeah, they'll make sure they go silence you, remove you from your job so you can't pay your bills anymore, and do all these other things. But yeah, no, you're right. Mango Mussolini, correct. Without looking right in the direct mirror of you trying to remove everybody else for against speech that you don't like. CBS has stated that Colbert's exit is May of 2026 will purely be a financial decision, which I agree with, because he's taken in a $40 million loss last year. $40 million loss. But yeah, blame it on Trump. Why don't you blame it on the guy for not being funny, having a dog doo-doo late night show that's not good? By the way, I would love to watch Colbert. But it's like when every night's the same thing and his Trump derangement syndrome's coming out constantly, it's just me watching a guy with a mental problem. That's all I'm watching. I don't want to watch a guy with a mental problem. I don't find it very fun. I don't find it fun watching somebody that's clearly struggling with some sort of mental illness regarding Trump, meaning Trump derangement syndrome. It's not exactly a fun thing to watch for me late at night, right before I'm going to bed. And by the way, I'm clearly not the only person that feels that way. I think a lot of people feel that way, hence why he's losing $40 million in a year. Ex-MSNBC host says Trump has pulse of American people. Biden couldn't do that in a million years. Well, that's correct. Now, Chris Matthews finally conceded he bent the knee and kissed the ring during a recent interview that the American people were moving towards President Donald Trump, and attributed that to Trump's uncanny ability to gauge the mood of the people in real time.
To be honest with you, the country is moving towards Trump. I mean, these polls that come out and show him not doing well, I don't buy that. I think his strength is still greater than the Democratic strength. He is a stronger public figure than the Democratic people. I mean, Obama still has tremendous charisma, but Trump has strength. And I think that's what all voters look for. But they want a president who is a strong figure. And he's got it. And he can, it's just there. And half the country buys it. That's what I think.
So it's pretty crazy how some people are coming around. He's not the only person that's coming around. Actually, let me pull it up. Let me find it for you really quick. We got Bill Maher. So I didn't have this planned, but I saw this clip right before I went live. Bill Maher said this. Check this out. This just happened.
Along with probably most people were saying at the beginning, oh, you know, by the 4th of July, somebody had to think how the country was, the economy was going to be tanked by then. And I was kind of like, well, that seems right to me. But that didn't happen. Now, it could happen tomorrow. I'm just saying,
coulda, woulda, shoulda.
That's reality. So let's work first from the reality of that, not from I just hate Donald Trump. Because that's boring and doesn't get us anywhere and leads you to dishonesty. Because the truth is, I don't know what his strategy is. But look, the stock market is at record highs. I know not everybody lives by the stock market, but I also drive around. I don't see a country in a depression at all. I see people out there just living their lives. And I would have thought, and I got to own it, that these tariffs were going to fucking sink this economy by this time, and they didn't. So, you know, how do we deal with that fact? Because that's the fact.
Yeah.
You know, actually, we got to go to the comments on this one. Let's see what people are saying. Charles has been talking about tariffs and trade imbalances since the early 80s. He's getting those deals done. Stock market highs show resilience, but the real test is how everyday people feel the impact. Tariffs didn't sink the economy yet, but keeping an eye on inflation and jobs remain crucial. You know what I've noticed is it almost seems like people are trying, not just people in general, the Democrat Party and the progressive left just want to see the country fail, because if they see the country fail, that means Donald Trump failed. And so they have something to point at going, hey, look at you Republicans and conservatives. You voted for a guy that made the country fail. I wasn't looking at for Joe Biden, by the way. I wasn't trying to egg Joe Biden on, oh, yeah, I can't wait for this guy to do this. And so that I could point at him and complain about a lot of stuff. When Joe Biden failed, the country failed. And I didn't want that. Matter of fact, I'm on camera saying, pray for this country, pray for Joe Biden, give him wisdom so that he can make America great again. For Joe Biden, I said this. I don't want the country to fail. I want it to do well regardless of whoever's president. The problem is the Democrats suck, and they don't have that mindset. They want to see this country fail, because if they do, then Donald Trump failed. And that goes reversed. If they see Donald Trump fail, that means the country fails. Because Donald Trump is the face of the American people. Whether they like it or not, he's the face of this country. Majority of the people voted for the guy. And by the way, the rest of the country loves him. Okay. But also the rest of the world loves him as well. The media just don't ever talk about it. Europe loves Trump. People, I've met numerous people that were here on vacation that are from the other side of the world that absolutely love Trump. They can't get enough of the guy. They wish they wish Trump was their leader. So we got that going for you. MSNBC, Colbert, you got Chris Wallace? Who was that guy? I forgot his name. Where's he at here? Yeah, it was Chris Wallace, or Chris Matthews, excuse me, not Chris Wallace. All right, the FBI director says classified docs will blow lid off Russiagate here.
And joining me right now, back 7 years later in the Sunday Morning Futures exclusive, is the current director of the CIA, once again, John Ratcliffe. Director, thanks so much for being here this morning.
Great to see you, Maria. Great to be back with you.
And thank you for all of your truth-telling over the years. We will speak with Devin Nunes, who opened this up wide so many years ago. But I want to get your reaction to what we're seeing now with Tulsi Gabbard highlighting the truth here, as you have done so many years ago.
Well, Maria, before the intelligence community assessment that DNI Gabbard was talking about, and before Devin Nunes' report about that intelligence community assessment, before the Mueller investigation, before Crossfire Hurricane, there was this. In the summer of 2016, U.S. intelligence intercepted Russian intelligence talking about a Hillary Clinton plan to falsely accuse Donald Trump of Russia collusion, to vilify him and smear him with what would become known infamously as the Steele dossier. And Maria, this intelligence was so explosive that John Brennan briefed President Obama, Vice President Biden, Jim Clapper, James Comey, the entire national security team, telling them about this Hillary Clinton plan. Again, but think about this, Maria. That was in August of 2016, and yet it wasn't until more than 4 years.
So he's given us a bunch of information we already know, right? We covered this. The point is that there's a clip out there that is talking about this. Now, what I want to kind of point out here is we already know that there's going to be more docs coming out, and that I'm sure classified documents that even haven't been released make this even out to be worse than what we already know it to be. Now, allegedly this week, Tulsi Gabbard is supposed to drop more documents. So when that happens, I'll try to do another video of what they're talking about if I have time. The whole point of me bringing this up is I think this is another example of over-promising, under-deliver. This is, and by the way, this is a common theme we've seen from the Trump administration. Over-promising, under-deliver. Mass deportations, where are they? I don't see them. Not even close. You're not even close to hitting the mark that you need to be to get rid of the people that Joe Biden allowed in. You're not even close. And by the way, clock's ticking. Because the further you go into your tenure as the president of the United States, the more people you're going to have to deport in a single day because you're getting close to that end date. Meaning, the longer we go here, it's just I'm losing confidence. They're losing confidence in me, in them rather, to believe that they're actually going to do what they're going to do. And you saw this with the Epstein files. Overpromised, underdelivered, big time. Big time. Now you're seeing, I'm pretty positive with the Russiagate. You guys, I have such low confidence that anything's going to happen. It's mind-bending. I hope it does. But I think what's going to happen is maybe you get somebody on lying to Congress or something, lying under oath, like John Brennan. Wow. Okay. Nothing's going to happen to Obama. Nothing's going to happen to any of these intelligence guys. Maybe get some low-level staffers that are getting arrested. Other than that, it's all just blowing smoke up your you-know-what. I really do believe that. Based on everything I've heard from the lawyers coming in to all these podcasts, everybody says, well, there's, statute of limitations. This crime doesn't really fit that. And what they're calling for now, something I didn't add previously, what they're calling for now, a lot of these people are saying, look, we need to bring back shame again. And maybe the biggest thing we could do here is, if you can't incriminate them, shame them in the public eye and just make them look bad, is what people are saying. Self-deportations aren't that much. The numbers are inflated. So, there's no, by the way, if you guys want to give me the numbers on mass deportations, they're not happening. Not at the level Tom Homan promised. And I'm going to continue to complain about it until it actually happens. Because I'm holding people's feet to the fire. And I said I was going to promise you, regardless of whoever's president, Trump or not, that I was going to hold their feet to the fire and hold them accountable. Tom Homan is not doing at the scale he said he was going to do. These are not mass deportations. You're deporting people, but not at the scale you said you're going to. And by the way, you should be pissed if we're about to double the budget and you're not seeing things double as well. You should be pissed, because where is your money going then when they're going to double the ICE budget and border security, border patrol, all this stuff, and they're not getting rid of the people they said they're going to get rid of? If you think that it's such a problem that there's 13,000 plus people here just that are the criminals for like grape or whatever, and you're not deporting all these people in mass exodus and going crazy, kicking doors down for these people, I don't want to hear anything. Don't tell me there's all these murderers here and these rapists and these offenders and these terrorists, and I'm not seeing you kicking doors down left and right. No, there's no, you guys, no. Hold on, I'm gonna push back on this. I love you guys to death, but no, there's no roadblocks with sanctuary cities. You can go kick doors down. Sanctuary cities, no. Cities as well as states do not have jurisdiction over the federal government. The federal government has every right to go down and do what they need to do. There's no roadblocks. Don't listen. Don't buy into that crap. There's no roadblocks whatsoever to stop Tom Homan and ICE from doing what they need to do. Homeland Security, all that stuff. DHS, no. I'm not going to buy into that one bit. No way. Moving into other news here, more than 10 people wounded in Michigan Walmart attack. So at least 10 people were wounded in a mass stabbing at a Traverse City, Michigan Walmart on Saturday afternoon. One suspect is in custody. Now, what's crazy is it's not police that stopped the guy. It was not a police officer. It was a good guy with a gun that stopped the guy. So it's amazing how when you get a good guy with a gun and didn't fire a single shot, things get stopped really quickly. The identity of the attacker remains unclear. Grand Traverse County Sheriff's Michael Shea, Peter Bada Boom Bomb, said that the suspect is a Michigan resident, but did not go into any more detail. Be vigilant. Know that no area is immune to this type of activity. Well, correct. Hence why we conservatives keep talking about that you need to allow us to conceal and carry, which you can do there. But the thing is that you have to have a license for it. You got to go through the training for it. You got to make sure you pass the tests for it. You make sure you got to go to the range, shoot a certain amount of rounds with that specific firearm. You got to do all this stuff just to protect you and your family, which, by the way, most of the people that were knifed weren't able to protect themselves because they were either disabled, they're in a wheelchair, something was going on there where they weren't able to actually run away from the attacker. Now, where am I getting that information from? There's actually people that were interviewed that actually saw this take place, and that is what they said rather than playing you the entire interview. So it would be nice if you're kind of in a wheelchair to be able to pull out a 9mm and, hey, do what you need to do and get rid of this person from stabbing you. By the way, if there's mass stabbings taking place like we see all the time in Europe, are we going to start banning knives is my question. Should we ban knives? Because I'm also seeing people being ran over by a bunch of cars all the time, going and plowing through a bunch of people in the crowds. Not a peep about banning cars or knives, none of that. But whenever it comes to a firearm, well, we got to make sure we ban those AR-15s, which, by the way, there was no AR-15 used in this. So that's why you're not seeing this go making waves on social media or by the mainstream media, prompter to prompter, screen to screen, telecast to telecast about, oh, look, another mass shooting. No, this doesn't fit their narrative, which is why they don't want to sit there and talk about it endlessly for the next week or so. So good guy with a gun stops an attacker with a knife, and make sure you guys are caring if you can, because this can happen anywhere. It doesn't matter where you're at. But that happened over there at a Walmart, which is just terrible. Absolutely terrible. So that is pretty much it on the news. You got Trump making trade deals, which is great. I believe he's in the UK right now on his trip. He has a sealed border ceasefire deal with Thailand and Cambodia now. So just another one to check off on the list of him making not just America great, but the world great and safer, by the way. I mean, the guy's basically running the globe. You also have hopefully more energy dominance taking place in that trade deal, which is always great for us, is if we can sell them something else, make a little bit of cashola, drill, baby, drill. So we got a lot of stuff happening here. Trump making America great again, but he can always do better. And I think we should always hold everybody accountable to always do better, not just ourselves, but also the president of the United States, which, look, you guys know I love Trump, but, you got to hold people to a high standard. So if he can get that Russia-Ukraine thing figured out, even if you still have Israel-Gaza thing going on, if he can get the Russia-Ukraine thing figured out, try to bring Russia back into the global market and wanting to, work with everybody again, I think that would be a huge, huge thing. Well, with that being said, thank you everybody for the love and kindness you guys always show me. It's always a pleasure hanging out with you fine patriots every single morning. Make sure you hit that follow button or subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us over at Rumble. We're on X. We're everywhere, so that you're always given up-to-date news. We're here every single morning, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Appreciate you really, really much. Remember, I go back to work in 2 weeks, folks. So when I go back to work in 2 weeks, we'll be doing a hard out at 7 a.m. Hard outs at 7 a.m. So no more long shows in 2 weeks or longer shows. But thank you for everybody for all. Hopefully you had a nice weekend. Hopefully you really did. I hope you guys have a great day as well. Be safe. Pray for this country. Pray for Donald Trump. Pray for the world. Pray for peace, but also pray for those in our community that need it, because a lot of people do. A lot of people struggle with illnesses, health illnesses, mental. I mean, there's illnesses everywhere. Make sure you're praying for everybody. Have a great day. And folks, I will see you tomorrow here on the Bull Brad Show. Take care, Patriots.